Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching the new thriller film Searching, which it stars John Cho, the same guy who also starred in Harold and Kumar as Harold, and in the new Star Trek movies as Sulu. Now, when it comes to the thriller genre, a lot of films, especially the abduction types, go for a similar type of premise. A man finds out that his daughter or his wife or, a significant other has been kidnapped, and he has to take matters into his own hands by finding the people who did it. Now, this film is very similar to those, but with a unique twist. The fact that it's set in modern day, the fact that it relies on a lot of modern technology, such as the internet, Facebook, Reddit, MySpace, and just a bunch of, and the whole thing is filmed on laptops, and the fact that the film is actually a very good representation of our internet culture while also just being a genuinely thrilling film in its own right. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is about a man named David, played by John Cho, who, after finding out that his daughter Margot has gone missing, has to work with a detective in order to find out where she is. After several hours pass and there's no leads in sight, he decides that the best way to learn more information is to check out his daughter's laptop and see what's happened behind his back this entire time, as he finds out that he really didn't know his daughter that well at all. Now, I think the story is highly relatable for some parents, especially considering that a lot of us tend to hide certain things that happen in the digital world from everyone else. And that sort of thing can happen a lot. Heck, I sometimes think that people tend to do it more often than we think. So I actually think the story is very well handled, and I think it really hits home for a lot of people. Not only that, but the acting throughout is excellent. John Cho is, of course, stellar as David. I think it's one of his best overall performances so far. But I also think everyone from his daughter to the detective to basically everyone who has a major role in the film had a lot of great performances. And also, even though it is centered around a gimmick, the gimmick doesn't seem like it's used as a mask for the film. It happens to work well in its own right, to the point where you don't even realize there's a gimmick being used at all. Well, you do realize it, but it's worked into the film very well. Unlike films like The Circle that present technology as something that we should fear and something that doesn't work out in the end, this film doesn't villainize the technology that it uses. It simply uses it as a unique way to tell this story. And even though it's a story that's been told several times, it has a new spin on it to make it really interesting. Now, it is true that it does have some tropes that are typical of the detective genre. There are a few red herrings, there are certain things that don't add up if you're paying attention, and certain people who are familiar with this type of setup will probably find out who did what before the main character does. But that's okay, considering that a lot of stories like this have been told, so people who are more familiar with the genre will be able to find out the story very quickly. It's just how we work. What matters is that the story is well told, well written, and presented in a way that gives us a new look on the genre. A very modern look that happens to, in my opinion, set a new standard for how these type of films should be made. If technology wants to be presented in a film, it should be presented this way. If a thriller wants to have these exact same thrills, it needs to take notes from this movie. And that sort of thing. Also, the music and sound design are both excellent in the film. There are several times where it happens to enhance certain moments, and it doesn't feel out of place. I definitely think that a few choice scenes really show great cinematography, especially with all the cameras that had to be used for the film. And heck, there's even a few times where the movie pokes fun at certain aspects of internet culture in a way that don't feel like they don't feel unnecessarily mean-spirited. It just feels like well-timed jokes to mix in with the serious drama, and it works out very well. So, Searching is actually one of my favorite films this year, and I really think everyone should see it. I give Searching a 9 out of 10. See you next time.